Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Performance Mindset Show. I'm your host, Amy Calandrino, CEO of Beyond Commercial and author of the book From Perfect to Real. This show is all about leveling up in business, real estate, leadership, and life by shifting how you think, grow, and lead. Each week, I bring you real conversations with top performers who are building big lives on their own terms. If you're ready to ditch perfection, trust your path, and grow with intention, you are in the right place. So be sure to subscribe and let's get right into it. Today's guest is someone who's changing the way we think about hormone health, aging, and personalized medicine. Dr. Nayan Patel. We didn't ask before we started. So is a clinical pharmacist, wellness expert, and founder of Central Drugs Compounding Pharmacy, a nationally recognized leader in customized pharmaceutical care, especially when it comes to bioidentical hormone therapy, BHRT. So when we use that acronym, you know what we're talking about. He's been collaborating with functional and integrative doctors since 1999 to develop precise patient-specific medication regimens. His clients include physicians, CEOs, and even celebrities who trust him with their most personal health goals. So Dr. Patel is also author of the Glutathione Revolution. It's a deep dive into the power of the body's master antioxidant and the mind behind a patented topical glutathione delivery system that's now used in both wellness and skincare. So today we're getting into real talk about hormone health, what's misunderstood, what's missing from mainstream care, and what we can do to actually feel better and function at our best. So welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me here today. I appreciate the time.
Yeah. So, let's get right into it. I think there's a lot of myths and misconceptions about hormone therapy. So, for those that are listening, which generally like C-level executives, investors, business owners, and those like just wanting to be the best versions of themselves, what do you think are some of the biggest myths and misconceptions you hear about hormone therapy?
Well, the biggest thing is that the hormones are, if you take it from outside sources, are not good for you. Or if they are made by commercially, that they are bad for you. Uh, or all hormones gives you cancers. These are all the misconceptions we hear all the time. Um, but at the same time, I think my body does not need that. I can plow through without adjusting my hormones. Whatever that misconceptions are that people think, I want to make sure that people understand that hormones are integral part of us as a human being. We inside our body, we have everything that we need to survive. When something goes out of range, the body sends some signals to you. We call them symptoms, and the signals are there for you to make adjustments in your life. And if you ignore the signals, guess what? There's a tsunami of problems coming down the pike, and all you can do at that point is just hold as much as possible, but you now be able to gain control over your own body. And so hormone replacement therapy, BHRT, whatever you call that, it's not the integral part of the whole system, but it's absolutely necessary for you to feel good.
Yeah. Well, I'm just listening to you talk. I pick up on a couple things. Like, first of all, like I really love how you talk about that symptoms are basically signals like, hey, over here, I'm needing some attention. But also it makes me think too, when you start to get those symptoms, or maybe even before you do, that you perhaps have an opportunity to maybe be proactive rather than reactive when it comes to your health.
Absolutely. I mean, being proactive is what we need, like anticipation. A good friend of mine, Tony Robbins, says all the time, the person that can anticipate further out can be better off where you are, because something's throwing a ball at you, and if you miss to put the hand in front of the ball, the ball's going to hit your face and really fast, right? And so you anticipate how fast the ball's going to come to your face, how fast it's going to be there, and before it gets there, your hands are already in front of your face to protect yourself, right? Same thing happens. Signaling your awareness about your own body. All those things are basically telling you that, hey, you need to do something about it right now. And the signals are coming to you very early on in your life, right? When you're 25 to 30 years of age. And most kids, well, I call them kids because they're much younger than I am right now, but they are ignoring them. I said, it'll get better tomorrow, right? Because we've been told that if you don't know what to do with it, just let it go, and hopefully it'll get better tomorrow. But if you don't keep a tab on those signals, those eventually are going to put you in a state of mind or in place where you are beyond return from that place.
Well, I think that as a culture, especially here in America, that we kind of feel like no matter what happens, there's a pill for that. There's an app for that. There's whatever, and we can just fix it. We can fix it. We can fix it. But often you take one medicine and it causes some side effects that you then have to take another medicine. They have to take another medicine. They have to take another medicine, and you're just basically you are just masking the really super dirty fish tank that you have. So,
Absolutely. So the question you're asking me basically is then why did you get in this business in the first place?
right,
Because
exactly.
the thing is, as a pharmacist, when I first graduated in Southern California, I was top of my class, not the top, but I was there. I was ready to conquer the world, help heal the world, out graduating, starting in the real life practice, and guess what? All the medicine we have in the world were actually not going to heal any problems. They're just going to manage your problems for you. And managing the problem is a lifelong journey. It's not a one-time deal. And so I said, well, then all you're going to do is manage people's problem for the rest of your lives. That's how you have security in your business or in your
Mm.
job, so to speak. I said, well, that's not a good deal for me or my family. Forget the patients, right? And so I started the journey to figure out. I said, hey, what can I do to to begin the healing process? Solving problem is great, but my background before becoming a pharmacist, I was in engineering school, and and as an engineer, we are problem solvers. If we cannot solve any problems, man, we put everything we got into that. And once the problem is solved, move on. But if you tell me that the problems are not going to be solved ever, and you're just going to manage people's problems, that's not a good deal for me. My brain doesn't think that way. And so very early on, I started said, what else? If the hormones are bad for you or hormones are out of range, what got to the hormone stage? Right? Why is this hormones bad? What did I do differently that I had to fix my hormones in the first place? And so there comes a pyramid. The whole pyramid is basically a whole endocrine system. If this is the pyramid, is all your problems. The bottom of the thing, which is a 40% of the total solution, the 40% of the total problem, is cortisol or stress management.
Oh yes.
Guess what? There's no pills for that. Well, there are some pills for that if you go completely out of range, but normally there's no pills for that. So cortisol or stress management is 40% of the total solution. If you go
Hmm.
about that, the next 30% is nutrition or insulin, your diet. Guess what? Everybody, if I ask them what's their diet, oh, my dad's pretty healthy. I said, oh my gosh, if that's pretty healthy. Then we won't have this problem in the United States today. What we have is abundance of food and obesity and every single thing. All metabolic disorders is the highest in the world. We won't have this problem if there was no diet issue. So that's the number two problem. Total solution 70% between the insulin and the stress management cortisol is in people's hands. They don't fix that. Then they come to the next 20%, which is thyroid. Well, we can do some blood tests and figure out what the thyroid levels are, and we can fix it. And thyroids, unfortunately, we have so much toxicities in the environment right now
Yeah.
today that is affecting the thyroid gland, because thyroid glands absorbs all the radioactive elements outside from the environment, and it basically damages the thyroid gland
Hmm.
completely and becomes hyperactive, and eventually you can control them, so the burn of your thyroid, you become euthyroid or low thyroid, and you take the medication for the rest of your life. I mean, that's the normal course of action for everybody that's out there right now. And the
Wow.
last thing, the tip of the pyramid is, guess what? Hormones, sex hormones. But guess what? They made the hormones as the, oh my God, everybody's got to do it. You got to fix it. But that's a small piece of the total problem. The real problem is on the bottom. How are you
Hmm.
managing stress? How are you managing your sleep patterns? How are you managing all your activities on a daily basis? What's your diet looks like? Can you cheat once a week or once a month or once a lifetime? Right? What are the
Yeah.
2 days looks like? So all these things matters. And if I cannot fix those, guess what? I'll be chasing the tail for the rest of my life, fixing the hormones for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you though say, hey, I really, we could do these different things could be very helpful. But if you don't have this bottom like 70% that's totally within your realm of control, how do you manage that or educate them and get kind of help to encourage people to get on the path so that then your work is much more productive?
So nobody's going to listen to me. So if somebody is having hot flashes, night sweats, reducing libido, no sex drive, I tell them, "Oh, manage your stress better." I said, "Oh, I've heard this plenty of times. So let me move on to the next person, the next person, the next person, right?" And so my job is to give them what they want first,
Yep.
so they can now the mind opens up to think better because your mind is completely clogged up. Because if you're having issues, you cannot think. You just cannot
Yes.
think. So my job, first of all, people come to us all the time, and my job is to first them feel better. Once they get them to feel better, they're sleeping at good at nighttime, the hot flashes are gone, the night sweats are gone, the libido is back to normal, they feel good about those kind of things. That's when I start addressing the rest of the issues. And then they goes, "Oh, I feel good." I said, "Well, just let me just tell you, what I just got you is a band-aid. But if I don't fix the problem, the bandage is not going to be able to stop the gushing blood that's going to happen next, right? There are
Mm.
no band-aids for a big old cut in your arm. There's no bandage that can heal that. And so I tell all my patients that I get you to think better, but once you start, I get you to think better, I want you to start focusing on all these different things. And I advise my clients usually about there are 15 things you can do to reduce your stress, from cold plunging to meditations to just journaling versus grounding techniques, Reiki therapy, all those different things that you can do to reduce your cortisol levels down. Hopefully, you can feel better, you can concentrate better, because people are either super depressed or super excited. They're never in the middle, because it seems like middle is not fun over there. I have to be either a digital junkie, like adventure all the time. But if I'm not doing that, I'd rather be sleeping and being a couch potato doing nothing. What's wrong with being middle? Middle is where you make the best decisions in your life, right? Not when you're excited or when you're depressed. It's in the middle. So the middle is what I want to create. And the middle is I want to create something for people where in the middle you feel good, or
Mhm.
you do activities to get you in the middle. It is not juicy, but this is where you are the most effective human being on this planet.
I can totally relate to that because I have struggled with stress and cortisol a long time in my life, especially having like anxiety. And I think as a leader, if you don't have that in check, then you're not making great decisions. And then that overall impacts the health of your organization and the health of your business. And so I think the health of leadership is just so important, and you owe it to yourself to invest in that and get yourself well.
It is, and I mean, the I have top 10 CEOs in the world as one of my clients. And I mean, these guys' stress levels is off the charts. We think they make all these big bucks for nothing. No, they earn that money for something, right?
Yes.
They're working really, really, really hard. And the thing is that treatments I do for them is different than I do for an average person that is just trying to make his ends meet on a daily basis. And they're different. Now, I'll give you one example. So let's see if I have a client that is running a Fortune 10 company, a Fortune 500
Right.
company, thousands and thousands of employees working under this one person, and his stress level or her stress level is off the charts. What's really happening is that they didn't get to the stress level this high initially. initially the body was regulating the stressors really fast, right? Because the body adapts to
Hmm.
the stressors, they regulate really fast. So after they hit about 40 or 45 years of age, the stress indicators doesn't work as good inside your body. So then what happens is this people, they start relying on adrenaline, which is the really the cream of the crop when it comes to liquors. Like let's say you want a high end liquor, this is the high end liquor for your body.
Yeah.
Expensive as hell, but it's very toxic. And if you don't get this under control, it's going to kill you from inside, right? So this adrenaline is what most of my clients are adrenaline junkies, right? Either they jump off the roof physically or they
Hmm.
jump off the roof mentally every single day.
Hmm.
And the thing is, what's happening for them is they can't sleep at nighttime. They're not sleeping at nighttime because they're tired, they're wired, the body says, "Ugh, just let me relax." They can. They are ready to, their eyes can shut off, but the brains never shut off.
Right.
And so what's happening is that I need to get this adrenaline out of the system. Now, normally there's nothing you can do except the body produces active form of thyroid. And if I just give them active form of thyroid, guess what? It pushes all the adrenaline out of the system, and within 5 or 10 minutes, these guys are sleeping like a baby. Now, again, it's a prescription drug. I would not recommend this treatment for anybody who has a cortisol issues or just stress issues because
Right.
that is not going to work for that one person.
Right.
And so different people, different treatment. But if I can get them to sleep in first day, guess what? My phone call's ringing the next day. I said, "What else you got? Right? What else do you have for me now? I got this problem." I said, "Well, I just got you just to understand to you, letting you know is what's killing you is this adrenal behavior that you have that you need to start fixing." Right? And so I start working on the 40 percenter. That's what my number one goal is. Most of my clients have the personal chefs working for them, so they have the prep some meals for them and all those things.
Yeah.
I said, hey, those chefs are going to prepare the right meals for you, but please don't eat anything besides what they prepare for you. Because guess what? They go to the meeting. I said, oh, there's a bag of chips. These guys loves junk food. Why? Because it fuels the brain to think better, faster for them. So they crave that carbohydrate as junk food too, so they can think better for the few seconds. But what's doing is it's affecting your own insulin receptors. And so I just tell them, do not eat anything besides what they prepared for you. If you're to take a box of food with you in the meeting, it's not juicy, it's not good for you. But guess what? If you gotta do it, just do it because that's going to create better habits for you. You can be a effective leader if you yourself set an example that, hey, it's okay if it's okay to bring in food that is healthy for you in the meeting and only drink water. That's another thing. There are people that serve all kinds of juices and drinks, just water. But anyway, so that's a treatment plan that I do for certain people. But once they listen to me and once I get the symptoms under control, I'm more effective in helping them make the change they need. And the changes, by the way, another question that Amy asked me,
Yeah.
how long will it take for me to get better? I said this journey on my personal health journey almost 16 years ago.
Wow.
And what I'm telling you today is that I have stacked on good habits. So all you gotta do is if you
Hmm.
have good habits, you stack on it. You don't get rid of it. You stack on it. And the bad habits you have, give an ugly name to it. Tell everybody in the world that this is my bad habit. Please, if you see me doing that, slap me, kick me, do whatever it takes to get it off of me, right? And so the bad habits, you do whatever it takes to get rid of it. And the good habits, you keep on stacking. Once you start stacking good habits, it will take you years. It's not going to happen overnight. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, in my case, 16 years. And by the way, I'm still stacking good habits even today's date. So it's a never ending story.
Well, I think it's like any kind of athlete is you start at a certain baseline and you start to, model certain behaviors, do certain things or learn new exercises and you get really good at it. And then, oh, I can do this. Or think of like an ice skater. They don't all of a sudden do a quadruple, spin around, whatever they call that, right? Like,
Yeah,
out there in the Olympics, they don't do that like day one. It's like they can do this and they can do this. And I can definitely relate to it. I had the opportunity to hear you on some different podcasts, and really, I really kind of started my quest too to be healthier, and it's why it's something I want to talk about on my show because I feel that health is the new wealth, and sleeping and becoming better. The better you become yourself, the better you're going to run your company, the better commercial real estate investor you're going to be, all those types of things. So, one thing I think that's interesting, though, I have a few friends that really, really, they go to like the Mayo Clinic and do executive physicals and all those different things. I have not gotten that far, but if you're just going to a regular doctor, you might be getting like normal lab tests.
uh-huh.
I've heard that that doesn't always mean optimal health. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit for me?
Sure. So, around about age 21 is your stem cells in your body is at the bottom low. When you're born, you have so many stem cells. Its job is to build your body up. Once
Mm-hmm.
once you use up all the materials to build your body by the age 20, 18 to 21, the stem cell levels are lower, but now you're fully grown up human being. Okay? About that time, you are in a perfect balance of everything, your hormones, your peptides, your proteins, everything that your body needs is in a perfect balance, right? Now, when you have perfect balance, do you do a blood test to find out what the balance looks like? No, most people don't do any blood tests. Plus, if you do a blood test, it's going to show what? Nothing. Because blood tests or saliva tests or urine tests or scans is just compares you to the other human beings. It's not unique. We didn't get a blueprint from God that, hey, this is what all the human beings should look like, right? We didn't get that. What we do have is comparatively to other human beings, this is who you are today, right? That's the comparison you have. So about the age of 21, you have all this all perfect ratio. Every day you start misbehaving and your body come back to homeostasis. You misbehave, body goes out of range and you come back to normal. But this normal line is shifting every single month, every single year,
Ah,
shifting towards getting bad. So you're coming back to normal, but the new normal is shifting
yep.
as you age, right? Well, you're normal for your age. I don't care. You're 35 years old. You're normal for your 35 now. Or you're normal for 65. Or you're normal for 80-year-old person. I said, who said that normal for my age has nothing? It doesn't ring a bell to me, right? So when people do all this executive functional test and all those things, those are not bad. Those are not bad. I'm hoping that they're doing that to make solidify their own good habits, then do it. But if you're there to diagnose a problem so you can deal with the problem, I think by the time you diagnose with the problem, the body is stopped because there will be a point when the body doesn't come back to homeostasis. There will be a gap. There'll be a gap. You go bad and do not come back to the same spot again. And the gap gets wider and wider and wider as you age. When the gap gets wider, that's when this shows up on the blood test, scans, saliva test, urine test, all those tests, is the gaps getting wider. What's telling me is that the body has stopped adjusting and bringing back to homeostasis. So if the blood test or saliva test or all this test is telling you that something is wrong with you, you're at least 15 or 20 years away from being normal. It's a long time, right? So
Mm.
whatever we do, whatever we do, it's a wake up call. If everything is normal, then great. Use that, count your blessings that it hasn't gone too far yet. But please stop uh, behaving in a manner that to destroy your body in the first place. Because somebody tells you, "Oh, I'm fine. My liver is perfectly fine. Oh, I can have a drink once a month." No, God, no. People, we know that alcohol is bad for your liver. Stop it. What's wrong with water, right? Well, it's not so socially, it's not very enticing. Change your social settings. In my case, I didn't change. I couldn't change my friends, but I guess what? I change how much I hang out with them. Changes is what you can make. The decisions are on us. So I'm okay. But optimal is what? When people say, hey, my levels are normal range but not optimal, optimum is in the high range where everybody else needs to be. I mean, optimal in one hormone or one blood test is not a good thing. Because guess what? Your whole body has to be optimal, not just one particular hormone or a blood test. And so if you're striving for one particular thing to become high normal, like for example, testosterone, guys want to get testosterone. 20-year-olds testosterone is 1,000, so I need my levels to be 1,000. I said, yeah, but the thing is, these guys have no other prostate issues. They don't have no other. They have the muscle building capacity is at the highest. Everything is peak performing. Body can handle testosterone level of 1,000. If you're 65 years of age, where everything is gone south, but your testosterone is 1,000, guess what? That stuff is going to kill you, right? All of a sudden it's going to get aromatized to an estrogen levels, and it's going to give you prostate cancers and all kinds of other issues too. So optimal to me is raising everything you got to high normal, and only happens if you go back to basics.
Mm. Like what? Well, you just like clearing a blank slate and have you don't have the stress messing with it. Can the stress? I mean, again, forgive me. I'm through commercial real estate. I don't do what
That's
you
all right.
do day in and day out. But would someone's diet and level of stress affect the overall like absorption and efficacy of the hormones?
So stress is, if you think about stress, I'm only talking about cortisol right now. I'm not even going to the adrenals and norepinephrine's and all the other
Okay, yeah. Let's just
neurotransmitters.
focus on
That's,
cortisol. Yeah.
that is those are the people that jump off the roof and they, oh my god, I forgot a parachute with me, right? But that's okay, I'll survive because I have this flying jacket or whatever they have. This Red Bull people, right? That's a whole different type of levels of stress that
I might be slightly there. I have
oh
Red
my gosh.
Bull sports on my Instagram,
Oh my
and
goodness.
you're the first person I've told that. I watched those, and I do commercial real estate deals for a living, so it's very But let's just talk about cortisol.
So let's talk about cortisol, which is the normal stress response for people that get it.
Yeah.
When your cortisol level rises, your body counteracts with an anabolic response called DHEA. When
Okay.
when the cortisol goes up high, so does the DHEA goes up high. So cortisol is a catabolic hormone which is breaks down your body. DHEA is an anabolic hormone which is builds up your body. So one breaks it down, one builds it up. So counteracts each other, nullifies all the bad things, and the body is able to withstand all the pressures that you're getting. What happens is that if the stress level never drops, now the stress is once in a while, that's the dog's chasing you. Hopefully the dog doesn't chase you every single day, then you'll be out of luck. But if the dog's chasing you, the dog goes away and found somebody else, the dog found a bone and left you alone. The stress goes down and you go back to normal, then it's okay. But in modern day society, the stress level never goes down.
Hmm.
And so what happens after a few days, few weeks, few months, the body says that, hey, I cannot produce enough DHEA for you to deal with the stressors because I got other jobs to do in my life. I cannot just keep on waiting until the stressor kicks in and I have to counterbalance with the DHEA. And so eventually the body stops listening to the signals, the DHEA level starts dropping. Now, this cortisol is a catabolic hormone, I said. It breaks down your body breaks down, and when it breaks down your body, your immune system starts getting lower. You're prone for infections gets worse. Your natural killer cell activity, which is NK cell activity, goes down. So you're able to fight cancer cells. By the way, you produce cancer cells every single day of your life. You're born with cancer cells, but your body keeps it in check. When your stress levels are higher, guess what? The NK cell activity starts getting lower too, so that your
Hmm.
body cannot fight off the cancer cells that have been produced more and more. All those things starts creeping up. And by the way, it's not until 15, 20 years later is when you realize that there's a problem. And when there's a problem, sometimes a lot of times is point of no return. You can't go back to normal. I can go back to not being affecting your daily life. I can go back to there, but I cannot go back to being normal when you're 20 years of age. That is impossible. And so if you're in your 30s and 40s right now listening to this podcast, all I can tell you is that yes, the money dollar is great and it can buy a lot of things. What it cannot buy you is your health. So you can only work as hard as possible as long as you take care of your health first. If you go in the plane, they'll tell you, in the case of emergency, put the mask on you first before you put on your loved ones, your own child who's sitting right next to you. Because you can only help that person if you survive. You can only help your organization or your business if you as a human being survives and if you're healthy.
Yeah. I really have been, tangential to what we're talking about. And I'm going to ask you about some more different things, but I'm very intentional though about the clients that I have now. The other day, I was on the way to go to the gym because I wasn't going to be able to go at night or in the morning. And the client's like, yes. And I was like, yeah, and I haven't been making it very often lately. And he's like, Amy. And that's the kind of clients, the kind of people that you want around you, like supporting you and telling you, which by the way, I went to the gym right before this show. It's been good. So as a woman, we talked a little bit about, testosterone and stuff, but what type of changes because we have a lot of women listeners, do you see in women's hormone needs during perimenopause and menopause?
So those are the two different cases completely. In
Right.
perimenopause, your body's trying to produce all the hormones. It's just that the ratio is a little bit off now because in
Hmm.
perimenopause, the number of, by the way, so just so that we understand this part, the hormone levels keeps on changing in women every single month because the number one job for women, not according to men, okay, this is according to the environment, is to procreate, is to produce
Right.
babies, right? And so the hormone levels are fluctuating every single month in the hopes that you will get a chance to procreate this month. Okay. By the way, the number one hormone in both men and women is the same. It's testosterone.
Hmm.
It's not estrogens or progesterones in women. Okay. The levels of estrogen and progesterone is higher in women early on. Throughout the month, something is high, something is low, because it is adjusting the level based on what your needs are to prepare the egg, to release the egg, to fertilize the egg, and if nothing happens, then give you the period at the end of the month, right? So this whole thing that happens is to procreate. And as you start aging, the number of eggs are reducing. And so the body has to work extra hard to find that egg to be ready to procreate.
Hmm.
And so your levels start increasing higher and higher as you start getting into perimenopause. At least the last 10 years of before you hit menopause, it is all over the place, right? And so when that happens, typically you have too much of one hormone, it's just the release of the egg, which is the estrogen. It helps with that one. So most women who has perimenopausal symptoms, they have abnormally high levels of estrogens compared to all the other hormones.
Hmm.
So the goal is to bring this estrogen levels down, which is difficult. Easier thing is to bring this other levels a little bit higher because the balance, the body does the counteracts all the problems.
What would be, other than getting testing to check your estrogen levels and those types of things, would be a sign that maybe perhaps that the one is much higher than the other?
So I have done literally, I have helped over 1 million patients in my lifetime.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. If people ask me, I said, do I do a blood test? I said, well, you can go waste your money if you want. It doesn't get, I get nothing out of that one. But if you tell me what your symptoms are, I can tell you exactly what your levels are going to be.
Hmm.
And so that's the beauty of this whole thing, because the real practitioners, the real doctors that are out there, they don't need testing to tell you what's wrong with you. They can do a basic complete history on you. They can do a physical examinations on you, and they can identify where the issues are. When it comes to hormones, I can pretty much assure you that no matter what the blood test, saliva test, urine test you do will tell you, I'm telling you the treatment is going to be exactly the same. Because if you're still cycling, you have estrogen dominance, all I can give you is progesterone to counterbalance the estrogens. And when the counterbalance happens, the symptoms just drops. If you have hot flashes, night sweats, anything will just drop. If I have to give you temporarily some testosterone to increase your libido or to increase your muscle mass or help you lose some weight or help increase your bone strength, then I may do some temporary testosterone. But even that will normalize because once the estrogen level starts dropping, there's something the body has a defense system called sex hormone binding globulins that is activated when the estrogen levels are too high. So when I give you progesterone, it balances up. The body sends it, hey, there's a balance happening. So eventually the defenses goes down. When that goes down, all the other hormones becomes more bioavailable. So less is more. I can give you all the hormones, or I can give you one hormone and balance out you all the hormones from there. I like the one part better, personally. But the same for women, once you get into menopause, is different now. Because menopause, the body says that, hey, now she is past her prime. She cannot procreate anymore. So the ovaries kind of shrivels up and says, hey, you don't need too much hormones right now. Whatever hormones you need, I'll have the adrenal glands make it for you, so you'll be fine. And the adrenal glands goes, wait a second. For the last 30 years, I picked up 2 jobs, 2 or 3 kids, and a spouse. And I'm sorry, my stress level is very, very high. And I cannot manage my stress and produce your hormones for you at the same time. Wait a second, this is raw deal for me. But that's what the body was created. This is how it was created. So in menopause, unfortunately, all the hormones are produced by the adrenal glands. And average woman today is a working productive human being. They're not sitting home and waiting to die. No, God, no, right?
Yeah.
They're a productive human being today, and
Right.
we want them to be productive human being. And for that reason, replacing hormones with what your body had is critical. But this time we had to replace estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHA, pregnenolones, all those hormones need to be replaced. Not all of them, but these are the 5 to 7 major hormones. If I replace those things out, it, it relaxes your adrenal glands. So now you can manage your stress better. You have your hormones better. So your osteoporosis, your heart health, your brain health, all are functioning better while you're not stressing yourself out to death.
Hmm. Yeah, I never knew that it went from the ovaries over to the adrenal glands, and so especially if you've been overusing the adrenal glands, or you're still like still in that phase of your life. I mean, it'd be very hard for then the adrenal glands to step in and do the job that has been done by the other for the whole time. That's incredible. I didn't know that's how it all works and why there's that issue and that need for women.
Well, the other thing is now the women are having the first child at a very late in their life now. It used to be in their early 20s, and now it's gone to late 20s to early 30s now. And so in the 50s, they're still raising teenagers sometimes.
Oh, I'm 35. I had my first at 35 and my second at 37, and I haven't decided if I'm done or not until I'm 41. I'm not. No, there's no announcement at this show right now, but But can you imagine? Like, yeah, I'd be 60, with someone still, a teenager
A
if I
teenager.
did that.
And
Yeah.
so, and that's an issue too right now because you need your body's ability to manage stressors because those teenagers will stress you out. They
Yeah.
will. They will. I got 3 of them.
I,
One is 20 now, so he's not a teenager, but he's worse than teenager. But he's a good kid. But I had 2 more daughters and teenagers right now, and they're not easy.
Man, well, I have really enjoyed our conversation. I do have a couple follow up questions, and I also, if there's anything we haven't shared, but so I understand you service folks nationally. So if they did have specific questions for you or had a specific need, you can service anyone throughout the United States? Are there any states that are excluded?
So I'm licensed in about 34 states.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And so of course, I'm based in California, and all the major states are covered at this point. I
Yep.
don't want to be living in the 16 other states because I don't see them. Well, I don't want them to feel that they're not the major states in this country. It's just that there's not enough business for me to keep up the license and pay all the
Yep.
fees for that. So right now we serve 34 states right now.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. And yeah, I think that's so interesting. Yeah. So if anyone's feel like not feeling right, whether their brain's foggy or otherwise, I'm sure you have like a solution for them, or if they just maybe feel fine and just want to get ahead of things, that you have a solution for that too.
I do, and most of my clients are physicians themselves. So
Yeah.
I work with their physicians. So if you listeners, if you have a doctor, reach out to us. We Our full time job is training doctors on how to prescribe these hormones correctly, and then getting them on the page where hormones are just a starting point. It's not the end point, and then
Mhm.
eventually get them to the end point of having a healthier habits and healthier lifestyles and things like that. Listening to your podcast, I'm assuming you have all these guests coming to you, teaching them how to optimize without medications, and that's the whole goal.
Oh well, like I said, I've been on this health journey. My personal philosophy is that I've wanted to get completely off any kind of meds whatsoever, which I've been successful in. And you were talking about the 15 different things that you can do to manage stress, whether, I'm in the cold plunge, I'm in the sauna, I'm in the different things. And I'll tell you what, there's something that even just reduces your stress to know that you don't have to go get the prescription refilled, and you don't have to do this. And you're doing things that are just more so adding and augmenting things rather than masking and dealing with all these different side effects. So it's a big relief. So I know there's a lot of other topics you've spoken on before. One thing I did want to drop in the notes for the listeners is if you're interested in glutathione, you had a great podcast episode with Gary Brecka, which I'm sure almost everyone is familiar with, and I would highly recommend that for a listen. If anyone else also wants to learn about any of the other topics of the hormone therapies and such, do you have any other resources you direct them to?
Unfortunately, no, because HRT is something, or BHRT there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and having individual treatment is more important than trying to blanket what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
What everybody else is doing, it does not work for everybody else either. So you got to work on yourself and start from the basics first. Understanding the hormones are going to be for you to gain control of your own body, but then start working on fixing your body from inside out.
Yeah, I think that's so true. So, and then I do have one last question. I think we talked about. So, with the high performers that you're working with, whether they're physicians, CEOs, or athletes, what do you see them prioritizing the most right now when it comes to their hormone health?
So the hormone health, what they're today, they have access to so much different things now, so much different modalities right now, right? And they're experimenting expensive treatments like total plasma exchange or stem cells and all these different modalities where it costs them literally 10 to 30,000 bucks for one treatment, right? And it's not cheap. And the good thing is that they are paving the road for the future generations because not everybody can afford that kind of money before. But if it adapts to a masses and we get some good results from there, we can bring it to the masses and say, hey, this is good. Might as well use this treatment options for you if you can afford it. But what they're prioritizing is hormones is as good as can be. We have that answer, but they're really focusing on how they can address the stress and
Uh-huh.
those are two most important things that everybody's focusing on right now. And it gets to a point where how much do you want to work? How many hours do you want to work? What time of the day you want to work? There are some signals where, okay, this means I'm off work. This means I'm back on work. They have isolation time frame where they don't get disturbed while they're working for like 90 minutes a day. That's a me time. And so people have created all these different things. And the last thing that I can tell you is that most of the people that I work with, they have one thing in common. Most leaders are now good meditators, so they meditate every single day.
Mhm.
And the second thing is that they really appreciate what they have, gratitudes. So
Yeah.
having gratitude journal or verbalizing two or three things that you're grateful for today if you wake up today, it's an amazing habit. And your life will transform from what you want to what you already have and enjoy what you already have.
Mm. I I totally agree with what you're talking about meditation and gratitude. And also I think sometimes just connection with other people. I had pop in my head yesterday, like how grateful I am for my best friend. And I just called her. I'm like, we're just really lucky to live the lives we do. And I'm grateful for you. So I think all of those things are powerful. And I hope that folks continue to go on this quest of health, and it really is the new wealth, and I think means a lot more than money, because you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, then what do you really have? So yeah.
True. True.
What is the best way for anyone to get a hold of you? Do you have a website or a spot that's best for people to start at?
So either they can go to my pharmacy website, which is centraldrugsrx.com. So they can go through the contact page over there and ask you about health and wellness questions. If you're looking for more towards stress management, oxidative stress management, then I have a different website for that one, which is aurowellness.com, AURO wellness.com. And there's a different contact page over there. That's a different team altogether, and we can help you through that too. Either way, either questions, if you questions directed to me personally, they will both forward the question to me or my assistant, and we will be able to address all those questions for you.
That's wonderful. Oh gosh. So thank you so much for joining us today. I know my listeners will get a lot out of this. It's kind of interesting though. I've been watching the stats on my podcast, and as much as I started talking about commercial real estate in business, all of the health episodes are much more listened to. So it's great. It's a win-win because I get to learn, and then my listeners, they gobble it right up. They love it. So I
Absolutely.
really appreciate you joining. So
Thank you.
so if today's episode gave you something to think about, be sure to share it and subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next. Want to go deeper? Again, grab my book, From Perfect to Real. It's all about dropping perfection and thriving your own way. You can connect with me at beyondcommercial.com or amycalandrino.com. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep showing up for you.